What's up, Ramblers? Your favorite CEO is back. And before we begin today's podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode. And follow Assistance HQ and Offsource HQ across all platforms to stay up to date on the latest content, updates, and more. And remember, if you need a virtual assistant, visit us at offsource.tech. Now, before we begin, a word from our sponsor. How are you doing today, Gennifer? Welcome back to another wonderful episode of The Ramblings, and I can say it in that order because Gennifer has been with us before. So welcome not only you guys, audience, but also Gennifer. It is wonderful to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Angelo. Anytime I see your smiling face, I'm happy.
It's absolutely wonderful. It's always great to see you as well. And so I think we have a really great slated conversation today. But before, so for all of the new followers and everything, give us a chance and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Gennifer Bernbach, but everyone knows me as Gennifer with a G, which is the name of my company. And I am a marketing writer and a branding consultant, and I came from television. And at some point, I wanted to get out of television and use my powers for good. So I'm helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, solopreneurs, words I never even heard of until this year. And I'm really happy.
That's wonderful. Now, Gennifer uniquely has some amazing content and writing experience. I kind of want to get into working for Bravo, the red carpet, apparently. Get into some of that. That's what I really want to hear.
Oh, sure. Well, you want to hear about from the writing place?
Yes.
The writing place? Yes. Okay. Well, I was always a writer, but my first job in television was actually as an intern at Comedy Central in the press department. And it was their very first year of existence. And I got to help with writing press releases. And I was trained on how to not just write language in a way that would make people excited and all that, but also, just tell a story. So when you're pitching a show or whatever it is you're pitching, your business, I was given some sort of formula and kind of guardrails of here's what makes it compelling. It's the quick get. That's what the headline does. The subhead kind of supports that, and then the rest of the body tells you the rest of the details if you want to know. Believe it or not, a lot of that stuff actually really plays into everything from marketing copy on your website to I would say even a TV show, if you were to do something like that. The theme song gives you the intro, and then or it used to, at least with lyrics, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're in the show and you want to know more.
So what have been some of the best or most well-known shows that you've worked on? What are some of the things that we might have known?
Well, I didn't work on shows. I was working kind of around shows, supporting shows.
Okay.
So in my earlier career, I was in the programming department, scheduling shows, and then I worked in publicity. And there I was a part of the team that launched Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues, SpongeBob. But on the Nick at Night and TV Land side, which is really where I was focusing, I was bringing back a lot of classic TV shows, which made my job really easy, because when I was pitching newspapers or radio stations, and telling them, hey, we're, bringing back the Jeffersons, for example, who doesn't want to talk for 2 hours about the Jeffersons? We want to go through every single episode. We're excited. So when I was working on those kinds of shows, it was always, a treat to be able to bring it back, I got to work with a lot of the celebrities and then, and tour with them.
Wow.
And yeah, but it was just, just me even being a rabid, classic TV fan and being able to write my spin on what makes the show so great in the press release again, and pitching that. It was so much fun. And I really worked with TV stars from the 1950s through the probably about maybe the 90s.
Now, that's a unique particular perspective, especially nostalgia, because nostalgia is something that always sells, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we've been looking at how things have some kind of resurgence, recently baseball cards, which were out of style for the longest, are now kind of in a small resurgence.
Oh, that's funny.
What goes into the branding of nostalgia? What makes companies say, we want to bring certain things back?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's always, trends and things like that. The interesting thing about Nick at Night, for example, their formula was always to bring back a show from 20 years ago. So the idea behind that was that the Nickelodeon viewers, little kids maybe would go to bed roughly 8 o'clock, leave the TV on. Their parent would come in to turn the TV off, and boom, there's a show they haven't seen since they were a kid. Mind you, when that started, this is before the internet, and you can have access to all these shows. But I think, like, a little bit of what you're saying is, everyone wants to feel safe, and everyone wants to feel entertained and cared for, and kind of heard, and all these different things. And there's something about a brand's promise. And this is, just me speaking in terms of messaging. A brand's promise makes you feel a certain way. And if it brings you back to a time in your life where you felt safe and like trusted that brand, it brings back good memories. It's always going to, keep doing well with that particular consumer. And that's why messaging and your mission and your promise, and then following through in everything you do really matters, because you're really selling a promise. And you think about that with baseball cards. A lot of people, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I'm surrounded by them. And it's like the experience that they had of going to the Yankee Stadium, for example, and sitting in, having the peanuts and the hot dog and the sound and the excitement of leaving the stadium as a winner, and all these different things. They get attached to that baseball card. It's right. Like a little reminder of that. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it definitely does, because I look at things from a nostalgic standpoint, kind of like when we're growing up, we're like, oh, this is from my childhood. We associate things kind of with different times in our lives, which can kind of, I guess, affect how clingy we are to something nostalgic. If it wasn't a good time, we may not like the things from that particular era and everything. Yep. But moving forward, because it's like the brand, and that's like where we're stuck on the feeling, right? How do companies emulate that kind of brand feeling or services? Small time mom and pop shops. How do they emulate that experience for their client or customer?
Yeah, well, I think that it depends on who your client is and the kind of feeling that they want to, experience, right? So when you were talking about nostalgia and you were talking about your childhood, the thing that's really hot for me right now, because we're just hitting fall, we just had first day of fall yesterday, and I'm nostalgic this time of year every year because my birthday is in October. And one of my favorite holiday specials, Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, is a week after my birthday. And this snack, Malamars, which is, I think, an East Coast thing, is only out in the fall and cold weathers because apparently the chocolate melts. So I have like this real thing of like, as soon as I start seeing the Malamars in the grocery stores, I have to buy every box and eat them by sleeve until I'm throwing up on the floor. I'm just kidding. Because that all ties into this like time of my life every year when I was a kid that I was so excited. It's my birthday, it's Halloween, it's, the Great Pumpkin, all the things I love are here in this thing, in this space. And I think that with mom and pop shops, if you're talking about like a restaurant, or you're talking about a card store, or a bookstore, there's so many things that, again, there are these memories attached to it. So let's just say a bookstore or a toy store or something like that. Maybe maybe it was, when you got a good grade, you got to go to the store and pick out a toy, or, you had to go get your shots at the doctor's office, but then you got to go to the local ice cream parlor to, eat your feelings away. Or, again, these experiences as a family or with your friends where, going to a baseball game, or, even if you think of other kinds of businesses, let's say a painting company, a house painting company, there's this promise of like, refreshing the living room with this, new color and this promise of something new and a new vibe. And it always comes back to reminding you of a moment in your life that felt happy and safe and, giving you some experience that you wanted.
So what would you say is the strongest feeling that you have to like get, like the first feeling or the strongest feeling, in order to really create that reminiscence feeling?
Well, for me, I find it's kind of one of two things. Either you grab them quickly with humor, which is, really easy to do with many businesses, but not every kind of business, or you hit them with some kind of thing that tugs on their emotional strings. And I'm not saying it in a manipulative way. I'm just saying it in a way of like,
No, it can be manipulative. No,
Well, no,
would you say marketing in and of itself is kind of manipulative?
it can be. I think anything can be. But let's just say, um, let's just say life insurance, right? The panic of what happens when someone's not here anymore and who's taking care of people and all those things. And, you know, again, you could certainly take the approach of like putting the fear of God into someone, and then they're like, I have to get this insurance today. Or you can position it as there's other companies I know and people that you and I both know who they're really talking about, things are going to happen, but I'm here to make sure that you're covered, not just, to make sure that you're covered financially and everything, but just I'm here as a friend, I'm here as a guide, I'm here as a person who just wants to, really truly make sure that people are happy and safe. It goes back to that happy and safe thing, I think. So, I think that with marketing, you're striving for something, even if you think of something like, affluent, high-end companies that are also delivering this promise of like, drive this car and you'll look and feel rich, or, drink this beverage and you'll look and feel rich, or whatever. At the end of the day, that to me still comes back to this promise of you're going to feel safe. You feel safe. You feel like you have the money you need, or the clout you need, or the, title you need, or whatever it is to move on with your life. It's an interesting thing when you really drill down. To me, it's really just two things. Either it's like something funny, let's have fun, or it's what can I deliver to you that's going to make you feel cared for.
Wow. So when we speak about different marketing tactics, right? And I guess having been in sales, it's a little bit different. But when you deal with, like, say, the sales and marketing of things, there's always the hidden, grungy, not necessarily borderline kind of tactics, if you will, the super kind of shady ones, the ones that are super borderline. In your experience, like, how often do you see people, pushing their boundaries on terms of what we would, I guess, call ethical marketing versus, actual ethical marketing or unethical? Do you see it often, and do you see it a lot? And what are some of the tactics that you like or don't like?
I mean, for me personally, in my marketing and what I do with people, I don't go down that road, because it's just not, it doesn't feel right to me. I guess if I was to say what I've witnessed, I would say like pharmaceuticals kind of goes down that road of like, what are you really promising? Because all the commercials, the visuals, the music, the voiceover is all, again, making you feel safe, right? But then there's this whole section which ends up in SNL skits and everything else about like, take this drug and you have a chance of dying, having a heart attack. Don't take it if So then it's like, well, why is this approved? Or like, what is this? So I guess like, as far as, things like, another thing I think is really interesting in terms of marketing. And again, it is what it is. But if you think about a brand like, I forget what the parent brand is, but there's Old Navy, The Gap, and Banana Republic, right? They're all the same parent company. They all really sell, so they'll all sell the same black t-shirt. Maybe one is a little bit better quality, but they're really different price points. And those three brands are promising you a different thing again. So Old Navy feels more like family friendly, more fun, more affordable. The Gap, I haven't seen ads in a long time on the Gap, but Banana Republic always felt more like, high end, like, this is your last stop before you really start going into like, the Versace worlds and stuff, like, as far as like affordable mall clothing, this is probably your last, the highest level of this version before you really cross that line. Right. But we're all selling a black t-shirt, and, Old Navy's probably $13 and Banana Republic's probably like 30 or more. Right. So, again, I guess it depends on, how savvy the consumer is, but
hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're now reaching into some territory that I think I like, right? So when we are talking about, say, luxury versus family friendly, there are a lot of people that I've been seeing now, at least recently, are trying to do like this entire luxury brand where you can sell less, but make kind of the same amount, if not more, because of the actual price per item. What does it act? Does a luxury brand take time to develop? Like, how does someone go about developing a new luxury brand, and where do they like pinpoint that pricing at?
That's a good question. I mean, I would say I guess I'll answer this two ways. One is there are brands I would consider luxury brands who truly put the best quality X into their product, and their customer service is like stellar. And they're providing you like concierge style service in terms of like you need to return something. It is so easy, and you're getting your money back even if it's 3 years later, and you've no receipt. Like a brand to me that is like, I like think of like what a concierge's job is in a hotel, which is there to be like you're almost like your assistant and your butler or whatever it is. I think brands that do that and really can stand by their product and their actions, to me, are good quality luxury brands. That is like, yes, I want to spend, like I'll use Rolex. Rolex is a really good quality product. I believe it's still a good quality product. I'm like the worst with jewelry and stuff like that, but they always, same thing, like, they have like very specific jewelers that will repair your watches because they want it done right. Then there are brands that call themselves luxury, and I can't tell you if that's true or not. They're selling a story, they're selling a promise, they're selling that kind of thing. Maybe I'm just going to use Peloton as an example. I don't know if you would consider that, or Lulu.
Peloton is absolutely a luxury.
Right? Yeah,
it is absolutely a luxury bike. I mean, there's other luxury bikes, I guess, but Peloton is absolutely like like a $2,000 to $3,000 bike.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so what is making people buy that over another bike? Is it the programs? Is it like, I don't know enough about them to tell you, like, if you're like, you use it 5 years, you're like, I hate this, and you return it and get full money. I don't know why people, it is like a cult. People are just 100% on it. But I think I might have steered away from your original question, was like,
I like that.
Okay.
I like that, because as we talk about like these luxury brands and creating it, there's a selfish question I want to ask, especially with you being, a specialty in brand. Cult-like behavior. As we were just talking about Peloton, cult-like behavior.
Yeah.
Apple, cult-like behavior.
Oh yeah.
People that wear Jordans, cult-like behavior.
Yep.
In the gaming world, people that use PC, cult-like behavior.
Yes.
How do these companies create such a cult following where their fan base is just that loyal?
It's a great question. I think any brand that can make you feel like you belong in a way that you maybe haven't felt like you belonged before to their consumer is gonna attract you and keep you, and and then you're like their brand ambassador, right? So let's say I'm just going to use Lululemon for a second, and I really am not going with any facts. This is just my gut feeling and what I've observed. But there's lots of workout clothes. There's lots of people that want to work out, and a lot of let's say women in particular. Let's assume they're like moms, they're wives, they're working out, and it's like, how many times you don't have enough hours in the day as it is. How many times you change in clothes? So here's a brand where it's like it's exercise clothes that you can wear to work out, but then you can wear out in almost like a fashionista. It's like if you're seen wearing Lululemon, people look at you like, oh, that person has money, or that person has something, because it's an expensive exercise brand. And I think, again, when you're selling this promise of the story is that you take care of your body and you look good in workout clothes, and now you're out in the street, looking like you just had your hair done and everything else, but you actually just came from a workout. Like, I don't know, there's something about this, again, this promise of and I would say, well, maybe that's not a great example. You might want to cut that one. I'm just trying to think of a good example. I mean, there's so many cults. There's Lululemon, I think, is a cult. Peloton, those are both exercise brands. LaCroix has like a whole cult following.
Yes.
Like you said,
the drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you said, Jordan sneakers, let's even just say Jeep, right? Jeep cars. Everyone in the Jeep car is
Oh
like
yeah.
flashing each
Oh
other.
yes.
I'm driving a Honda, I'm not flashing other Honda owners. So I just feel like there's this like this thing that certain brands do where they're giving you this unique experience or positioning of the brand that you're aligning yourself with, and now you're part of this club, and now you're friends with the people in this club, and it just turns into this kind of cult like behavior. I mean, I see people who are, you have a Peloton, I have a Peloton, oh, what, it's just like it's like a common interest. And again, it goes back again to like someone feeling seen and heard and belonging and safe. Again, to me, it's about that feeling of I belong somewhere. This is where I belong. These are my people.
I feel like I've kind of stretched this over, right? Like different parts of the area. And so now I want to kind of talk about something that I think might kind of rein it in. How long does it take to develop a brand like that? Because what I didn't know was Lululemon, after I'm actually looking at it right now, was founded in 1998. I was born in 1997, so they're basically old as me. But we haven't necessarily heard of them. At least I haven't. Now, I'm also young. But I don't think it's really been as popular, at least in the States, because apparently they're a Canadian kind of company. But how long does it take for a company to become known like that, popular-wise?
I mean, that really depends. I'm going to guess Lululemon, I'm going to guess, had a lot of celebrities that started wearing it, and people started getting it because the celebrities were wearing it. Or maybe they got product placement in a show like Sex and the City, or I really couldn't tell you their history of how that happened. And it's kind of hard to answer because, when you have a brand, there's lots of ways to become famous. There's, traditional things like advertising and publicity, and things like product placement in a show, or, something where you're a sponsor of something, just, you're mentioned, you're aligned with something greater. And then there's also the slower build, which is like the word of mouth and the trust and the commitment and the proof that you're really committed to your craft, or your product or whatever it is. So I think it just sort of depends, because like you said, I didn't know Lululemon was that old either. And yeah, it seems like in the last like 5-10 years, all of a sudden it was just, it was a word. And when you hear it, you associate it with a certain, kind of person, for example, or, that kind of thing. And it's funny because you hear that too with like things like comedians, or celebrities or singers or bands, right? It's like, it's overnight sensation. And when you really look into it, almost none of them were ever overnight sensations. Almost all of them have this like 10 to 20 year, 30-year build, whatever it is. So it's sometimes it's very methodical, and it really is things like advertising and publicity, and having this machine of just constant content out there, and promotion out there, and reasons to talk about yourself out there. And then there's the other piece where it's a slow build, and then one day lightning strikes, you just happen to be at the right place, right time, or something hits. It just really I'm trying to think of good example of that one. Again, I just think of like musicians, for example, like I don't know if Rihanna was a good example, but people that were just like, they've been singing for years, and then one day, like one person happens to find their YouTube video, and now they're blown up, that kind of thing.
I like that. It very much can depend, on the company, on what their branding tactics are and everything. What have you seen work, being from, the content side of being in shows and in show business and everything like that? Is it safe to say like you've been in show business?
Yeah, I was in TV. I worked for TV for 30 years.
Okay, so being in show business, what have you seen companies do, or marketing teams do to make shows popular? Because I assume, outside of the fact that the show is just good, there's certain times that shows are just bad, but they want it to be good, and so they do a lot of push and marketing for it and things. What makes a show good or bad, and how do they blow it up? Like, what do marketing teams do tactically?
It's so funny because once again, there's not like a formula. So SpongeBob was a huge hit. No one expects it to be like that. I don't even remember what the push was around that show, SpongeBob. Like people, that show blew up. It was like, no one predicted that kids are going to like it. College kids are going to love it. Adults are going to like it. No one predicted that, college professors were actually going to use things from SpongeBob in their classes because there was actual facts in it. No one could have predicted that show was going to turn into what it's turned into. And sometimes a company will put so much money and efforts behind something because they believe in it. They want it to succeed. Maybe there's a lot of pressure because, they promised if they got the celebrity in here, they would deliver this. And, I think at the end of the day with consumers of any kind for any business, and this is really a lot of what I like to do marketing wise with my branding with people, is get to the truest essence of who you are, let you be yourself, and let that speak for your product. And sometimes, again, it's like a slow build and sometimes it's not. So if you think of something like Seinfeld almost got canceled in the beginning. It didn't do well ratings wise.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it did very badly. And they were gonna pull it. And I think they moved it to a different day and night. And then, in TV, you do something called hammocking, where you put it like a show that's not doing well or don't have high expectations at like 8:30 in between 8 and 9 o'clock, where there's two really strong shows. So people hopefully stick around, or at least that was the old strategy before we had billions of channels and streams. But there was tactics to try to get people to watch. But at the end of the day, I think with anything, whether it's a TV show or a brand or a pizza place, whatever it is, you have your emotional attachment to that. Like, something's got to get you in the door to try it. So there's that. And that's where to me, the branding is, and the marketing is who you are as a human being or as a business, and giving that promise out there and then attracting the people that want that promise delivered to them. So for Nick at Nite, which was a brand I really worked on for a long time, they were showing you shows from your past. They were giving this nostalgia vibe, safe vibe. And they had this promise of like family friendly classic TV, preserving our television heritage. No matter where in the country you live, we all had this shared experience, versus someone in Chicago and someone in Alabama might have had some different experiences growing up, but across the board, everyone knew who, the Brady Bunch was, or something like that.
Right.
Or for someone your age, I would say, I guess I'll say SpongeBob. I have to think.
I love SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob.
Yes.
I know Fran, Will Smith, feel me. What else was on Nick at Nite? Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World. Yeah, that's funny.
Yes, you were Saved by the Bell.
Yep, that was on. I think that was on TBS. But I think like well, let me ask you, because I watch commercials. I like I look. There's certain brands that I align myself with because they match who I am as a human being. I want. I repel certain brands and I'm attracted to certain brands. What about you? Are there certain? What would you say? Is a brand that you have been loyal to since forever, and why is that?
A brand that I've been loyal to forever.
It could be a toothpaste. It could be.
There's been a couple of brands. I don't like to say it, but I've been loyal to Apple laptops. I hate the iPhone, and people I'm known as like the guy who doesn't like iPhones because I love Samsung like that. I've been loyal to Samsung since I got my first one. I love the Galaxy line. Like, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But I could never get rid of my Apple laptop. I am a sucker for, I hate this one. The 2021 non-M1 laptop is absolute garbage. Me and my mom have already talked about it. It's absolutely terrible. We hate it. It's terrible. Get the M1. The battery sucks. The fan is not good. It overheats a lot. It's just slow, fragile for no reason. But yeah, besides that, I'm a big fan of Apple, cult to Apple laptops and everything but the iPhone, essentially.
But with with the Apple, for example, because we know that's, Apple's a cult. And I know my reasons for being an Apple cult follower. What brought you in to begin with? What brought you in and what kept you?
So when I was younger, we had a computer room. We had a pretty big house when we were younger. So we had a room that we called the computer room. It was a desk that had 3 computers on it. It was like a really, really big desk. It had 3 computers, and that, like, each of us had, me and my brother, my cousin, each had our own computer because my cousin lived with us. And so we had the old school Macs with the big back. It was like not the colored one, but like the white one that they had. It was like it was all white with like a huge back, and we loved it because like we could bring it to other places. Like, oh, I'm gonna go play the computer in like the room or something.
Yeah,
we could, like, it was just plug and play. It was no other wires. It was like one wire, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely cool. And it didn't get viruses. I don't know about I still have not gotten a virus on it, but that was the big reason. Like, especially back then, Macs did not get viruses.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the market, especially back then. They didn't have the like same market share. Everyone, even now, everyone still has, like, more people have like an actual regular laptop or something that's not like a MacBook.
Yeah.
So that's what you would make a virus for. But for some reason, I have never ever gotten a Mac, and had a virus. The other reason was they just lasted forever. Not the phones, the computers. The computers actually last. I have a computer right here that's a hand-me-down that is a mid 2011 that I literally just got a couple of weeks ago. Not even a couple, like 2 weeks. Yeah, a couple. 2 weeks ago. That is mid 2011. Like, I did some Google research. Apple considers it obsolete. Like, you can't even upgrade it anymore.
Yeah.
It hit the last upgrades, like 1 or 2 upgrades ago and everything, but it's still running strong. And like, they could just not work with a PC. And that's a big, like, what really resonates with me in a brand is fanciness and durability. And if you make a product that is durable, utility. I am utility over fashion all the way. People say that I dress for utility. It sucks. I dress for utility. I have to have pockets. I have to dress according to the weather. Some people are always like, oh, but does the fit look nice? Does the outfit look nice regardless of the weather? I need it to be weather first and then it being nice. I'd rather be comfortable. So I need something that's comfortable, in utility, and then fashion. Which is really why I also like Tess.
What clothing brand would delivers that to you?
When I was a kid, I used to like A&E, like American Eagle. But now I don't believe in being like brand loyal to. I like, if a company makes a good product, I will be absolutely loyal to you. But if a better product, like, it has to be something better. And I'm a sucker for customer service. Like, if you have if you have an amazing customer, I will suffer with an inferior product if they make up for it every single time. Yeah. Which is why I think my other cult following is for Amazon. Like, I cult Amazon. I absolutely heart and love Amazon because, like, they have such an amazing product. 2-day delivery, which is like pretty much their product. It's just 2-day delivery. The product is 2-day delivery, and their customer service is amazing. Yeah, it's no offense to anybody or anything, but I get to speak to somebody stateside when I call them, and that's big for me. I love to speak to somebody that understands my small colloquialisms. It's not, oh, can you repeat yourself? All this other stuff. And they're fast, right? They've gotten super fast with sending returns. They make returns a whole lot easier. I enjoy the experience. Is easy. I'm a sucker for convenience as well. Customer service and convenience. If it's easy and you're great customer service, I will be a fan for life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and all those things, like, not every brand, I mean, every brand might say they have those things, but not every brand really walks the walk and delivers it. And so, again, this goes back to me about consumers. People are not idiots, So if you say you're gonna give you easy quality, customer service, blah blah blah, and you don't deliver on it, then part of the branding is not just like your colors and your messaging, but it's also this reputation. It's reputation management in a way, So I have certain brands that I also am very loyal to because of things like that too. Like, I don't want to be bothered. I want it to be easy. And I have certain brands that I use for work or travel or whatever that always come through for me. And so I'm loyal to them now. I've never even tried other brands that are, like them. Um, and I think that, with what you were just saying about your clothing and your computers and things like that, I bet you, if you dig deep, that also ties back to some sort of nostalgic thing that you have for something from your childhood. Maybe you needed pants that could carry your Matchbox cars, or fit your iPod, and
I am very sporadic. So, like, I move fast. Like, I cannot slow down for, like, I just rush for no reason. Like, I just, like, even just getting in the car, like normally people take their time, kick the keys, put the phone on, select a song. It's a whole process.
Yeah.
I get in the car and I'm pulling off in like three seconds.
The snow's still melting off your car. So for you, something, just go out to branding, but like if you were to see a commercial for, let's say you're a coffee drinker, and the difference between the coffee where it's like some, fast beat, someone gets their, coffee in like a modern cup, and they're like, on the go, and it's fast and the coffee's delicious. That's that. And then there's the coffee where someone's like, I'm going to spend an hour to myself and drink this coffee and think about, poetry. That's a different brand.
I'm not going to think about poetry, but I like Starbucks for that reason, right? Another thing, work. I like what I do. So if you provide a duality of something, you'll have me forever. Co-working spaces. I don't have a favorite co-working space, but I love co-working spaces because it allows for me to do two things that I like: socialize and work.
Yeah.
So that's why that's what I like about Starbucks. It's the ability to sit and if I am going to be still, I have to be multitasking, because being still doing one, like if I was to sit and just drink the coffee, I would hate Starbucks. But I can sit, drink the coffee, and work, and have good Wi-Fi too. It's not like it's crappy Wi-Fi. Starbucks makes sure. I think they like do that on purpose. Like they really pay for really good Wi-Fi for that purpose of being able to stay longer. No, I read an article. It was like they purposely like keep the Wi-Fi fast, so that like if you're staying there, you finish your coffee and come up, because they're not like McDonald's, right? McDonald's does like a free refill, and if you're like, the people don't care, you can get as many refills as you want. Right. Starbucks, they're gonna make you pay the other $7 for another small coffee. So, but I enjoy just the atmosphere,
the experience. Well, that's the whole thing. Is it's this experience. So again, if it's just even using that example, right? Because there are a lot of coffee shops where you can sit and work for the day, and some of them, like McDonald's or Panera, you can get a free refill. And yet some of us are like sitting at Starbucks paying $14 for 2 cups of coffee because we want that coffee with that logo and the green straw and the vibe and the energy and the promise of like, I'm in a cool space, like the tables, everything. So that, I mean, all that stuff really is, this promise on behalf of the brand that you're going to have an experience. Right.
So what's the brand that you love the most that brings you like the best experiential feel? Like what if, and I'm pretty sure it might be like a hotel or something that really has a brick and mortar experience, because I think it's hard to emulate that through like e-commerce and everything. So what's been your best experience of a brand?
Well, I mean, not brick and mortar, but work-wise, I tell people all the time that WordPress has the best customer service period I've ever experienced. WordPress, their customer service is like it's instant. They're not asking you pre-questions. Someone's there, they help you right away. And if they can't walk you through what to do, they will take your computer and fix it for you. It's like I wish doctors' offices were like that. So yeah, like I think they're amazing. I've also personally had incredible experience with Expedia, which is online travel. Same thing. Like if I, tickets, anything, they have always been on top of it. And, sometimes it takes a little longer to get through the chat because, it just does. But I've always had, good experiences with that. I'll tell you, this is funny. Recently, this is a recent thing, but I got a Franklin Covey planner. Everyone was laughing at me. They were like, did you take a time machine to the 90s and pay for it by check with a fax? It's something from, talk about nostalgia, but it was from in the 90s when I first started working. I was sent to a time management class at Nickelodeon because of my lack of, and I learned how to all of a sudden, all my entire life of not being organized, not being able to like remember what assignments were doing, homework, all that stuff was magically changed and transformed from this 1-day training and how to use this planner. It like literally changed my life for the better. And so when my daughter was getting ready to go to college this year for her freshman year, and she's pretty organized, but I was like, what can I help? I was trying to find as many tools and ways to support her. So when she got there, it was like the least amount of stress, so she could just have fun, get through her classes and not be overwhelmed. And so it popped in my head because of that experience. And I got her a Franklin Covey planner. And then I was jealous. And I got myself the same one.
Look at that. That is wonderful. I love when kids go to college and parents give them amazing like prep gifts and everything. I will say, I'm going to give shout out my mom real quick, only because I think that people should, the next person to graduate, I think would enjoy this gift.
Yeah.
A bunch of gift cards, not Visa gift cards because they'll spend it on like BS.
Yes.
But like curated gift cards.
I like that. Yeah.
Like Subway, bookstores, Target, like things that you're really going to need. And so I think that one, you're not going to spend it on BS, but two, it forces you to kind of use it on things you need. Like before I hated gift cards. Now I'm like a couple of weeks ago, my mom gave me like a gas card, like a gift card. It was like 35 bucks in gas. And I was like, this is the best gift ever. Gas, free gas. It's like $4 or something now, almost a gallon. Like, no, it really is. I think almost like $4 a gallon.
No, I know. But that kind of stuff really, that does really make a difference. And especially, going back to brick and mortar, like the gift cards to, brick and mortar. I'm trying to think. I was just at Starbucks this morning. I enjoy it sometimes. I like, for coffee shops, I think I like more mom and pop shops sometimes, mostly because of the taste, but I like the experience of Starbucks and going and getting that coffee with my name misspelled on it, which is always like a fun thing, right? And then in terms of other stores, I'm just trying to think of, Target. There's so many memes about Target. You go in there for one thing. What other store do you go in for one thing and you come out with like, next thing you know, you've come out with like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff you didn't want or need
IKEA.
or could afford. But there's something about that store and that experience of going in there that's like shopping is fun. And I don't really like shopping.
Speaking of IKEA.
Yeah, I've never been to one. But that's another thing. I know a lot of people are very culty about IKEA.
You've never been to an IKEA?
No. It's New Jersey. I'm not going.
Is
it like New Jersey and Staten Island? Like, I can't.
No. IKEA is hands down. Like the reason people are culty about it, is because it's like their quality has gotten better.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. Like it used to be like kind of on the cheaper end. Like it's still cheap, but it's gotten a little bit on the better end.
Oh, I like their stuff. Yeah. I just haven't been to the store.
It makes your apartment look amazing.
Yeah, like modern.
The best thing, modern, all this for a great price.
Yeah.
And it comes like folded. The fact that you have to put it together, sometimes is actually, there's an effect. I did a little bit of research on it. There's actually a thing that if you put it together, you would love it more because like you built it, like you're more prideful about it because you built it with your own hands. There's like an actual effect of it. And so they have it where it's just enough to where it's like, this is kind of difficult. But once you get it put together, it's like, I put this together. This is something I did. And that's really what allows them to keep on buying. But the fact that it comes in the prepackaged things is what really does it for me, because if you don't have your own house, right? If you're not a homeowner, chances are you probably live in an area that has tight apartments.
Yeah.
You can have a spacious apartment, but if you live on the third floor like I do, it's going to get tight in certain areas, especially all around certain bends if it's not like a straight way up. And so it allows for you to like, it doesn't matter what size it is, you can get it up into the house. Like we have an entire dresser, like closet thing that would obviously not fit if we brought it up the stairs, but was able to fit because of how it breaks down.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I that's another thing. Like people are loyal to that brand because of, I guess, all those different experiences. And while you were, and you just made me think, I don't know why I went from IKEA to this, but I love JetBlue. I love JetBlue. I love that they, when they came out, they were the only airline that had TVs on them. They were giving you snacks. Like, they made it fun again to travel. I'm always looking for fun. So that's a brand that I've, I will travel on other flights when needed, but it doesn't feel the same to me as JetBlue. I'm very loyal to JetBlue.
I do enjoy JetBlue.
Yeah,
they're a very good airline. But
yeah.
Before we have to get you out of here, what I always love to do is a shameless promotion, shameless plug. So, Gennifer with the G, where can we find you and how can we get your services?
Oh, yes. It's just Gennifer with a G, all one word, .com. So it's Gennifer spelled with a G and then the word with a G. And that's my handle also on Instagram. I'm on, Facebook and then Gennifer with a G. Yeah, I told you JenniferTheG.com is my website. You can come there and see samples of my writing and my other backgrounds in project management, publicity, marketing, all different things I do. Every curl in my head is an idea, is my tagline. And if you see my curls, you'll see why that's a good thing for you. And I just love working with you, Angelo. I think that you have an energy that, again, I don't know where you get all this positive energy from. Probably the same source that I try to get mine from, but I love being around you. I think you have a lot of good ideas. You bring good people together. And I know that you are doing a great job out there because I keep hearing your name out there. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Ramblers, that's it. Podcast is over. Don't leave yet, though. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, and follow us on YouTube at OffSource HQ. We'll see you next time.